everyone, it's Leanne with Lovely Scrappin'. I recently posted a video explaining my mini album, the cover of it and how I constructed it, and I also mentioned that I was going to show you, do a tutorial on how I made my pocket pages. So the mini album, like the chipboard cover, is approximately 6¼ inches this way by 8 inches this way, and then the pockets that I created are 6 inches by about 7½ inches high. So it's using one piece of 12 by 12 paper folded in such a way that gives you the pocket here, and then the one up at the top. So again, I'll just quickly flip through so you can kind of see, using of course double-sided designer paper to get both designs when you've folded it. So that's what it looks like. Super fun. Love, love, love this. So let's get started. I'll show you how I created it. Okay, hang in there. Okay guys, so this is of course what the page is going to look like, and when it's bound using the bind it all or cinch or with the rings, it'll be on this side. So you get a good huge pocket here and a big pocket up at the top, and then when you flip the page you get your big pocket here. Okay, and that's just using one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. So just so you can see how it looks. So that's the 12 by 12. So once you get the cuts and fold, or not the cuts, but the folds, like that, and like this, that's how you get your pocket there, here, and up at the top. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the measurements first of all for these pockets. There's another one. It's a bit easier to see with the design. This works best, of course, with double-sided designed paper. Okay, so again, it will fold like this. And I did want to show you as an example that you don't have to fold. You could fold this flap like that instead, and even like that to give it more dimension, and you'd still have your pocket here. You can fold this flap however you want, but just for this tutorial I'm just going to make them nice and clean looking like that. So it's almost like a little file folder. Okay, so this is just my demo piece when I was kind of designing this. I took a piece of 12 by 12 paper and just did a whole bunch of folds and tried to figure out what I liked. So this is what I came up with. This is my very first piece. Okay, so your 12 by 12 paper, again, you're going to go 6 inches, so the center of your 12 by 12 paper, and you're going to score a line down there, okay? And I'm going to do this, so I'll show you. And this measurement is 4½ inches, and then you score a line down there. This here is 2¼ inch, and then of course, so I make a little mark here, and then going from the center of it, from there to there, I do a score, and then that's how that gets folded. Same thing on this side, that gets folded, and then it just goes like that and like this. So I'm going to do one to show you guys. So when you're doing your, you're going to figure out first of all what you want showing in the background and what design you want here. And you also want to keep in mind of the orientation if you have lines, even something like this. Okay, so if you wanted the lines going down this way, then obviously you're going to want to do your 6 inch, you know, your half score line down the center going this way, or if you want your page to look like, you know, the horizontal line, then you're going to score it down this way. And keep in mind the orientation of the design when you're folding it this way. So this is a simple design, so it doesn't matter which way you fold it. But if I want this showing and then this line, which is the way I'm going to do it, I have to decide how I want my lines to be. Do I want them to be vertical? I think I do. So I'm going to do it this way. So I got my bone folder. So again, making a score line 6 inches, which will be right in half, down the paper. And then you're going to want to do a 4½ inch score line going down this way. So I just turned my paper. So I did my score line down this way. I don't know if you guys can see the score line. Probably not. Turn it this way and do your score line this way. So 4½ inches. Okay, now from here, from the score line I just did, so this is 4.5 inches, I'm going to want to make a score mark at 2.25 inches, so that will be right in half, okay? So I'm going to do that up at the top, just a little mark, not a line, but just a mark, because it'll help guide me on where to make my folds. So 2.25 is right there. And at the bottom of my score, because there's no thing indicating the number, I'd have to like do a line all the way down to figure out where that is. I just beforehand made a little mark with my Sharpie where 2.25 inches is, so I can just do a little score like this. You could use a pencil if you want instead of doing it this way, it doesn't matter, whatever way is easiest. I'm going to mark it with a marker so you guys can get what I'm doing, because it's going to be really hard for you to understand. And I have no idea if I'm even making any sense. So the 1.25 inch score mark is right here. This is going to get folded in, so you're not going to see it anyway. And here is my 1/6 inch. So what I'm doing is doing a score line from this to this. So all I'm going to do is line it up on here. And because I've already made a line, a mark on my scoreboard, I'm going to line this up at the 2.25 inch line here. So I'm going to line that as 2.25 inch. This is 2.25 inch, so I'm going to line that up. 2.25 inch, line that up. That's pretty good. So now I'm just going to score. So I hope that makes sense. So now I've got my score line going from this line to this line. Now I'm going to do the same thing on here. So taking my paper, lining up this little black mark or score line to the 2.25 inch. There. So that's lined up pretty good. Okay, so I've got my scores. Now I'm going to do the folds. So the first fold, of course, being this one. And you're going to want to make sure they're creased down really good. So really make sure you fold that good. Crease it with your bone folder. And then down this center. And there you have your next page. So I'll show you how to glue this in a second. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you how I glue this. So the first thing I do is I just adhere this part down, and you can use whatever method you like. I'm just going to use my ATG. Just make sure you don't have any adhesive overhanging, because you just don't want it to mess up your pocket when you close it all up. And I just use my bone folder. So this is where you want to make sure there's no adhesive overhanging, because when you fold it like this, it'll stick. Okay, so that's good. So the next thing I'm going to do is, and I'll show you why I do this, or tell you why I do this in a second, but I'm going to put some double-sided sequin tape, because it won't, when I fold it over to do my next glue, this isn't going to seal down yet until I want it to. I'll explain that in a second. So just a strip there, and a strip. I'm going from the score line here, right, to the end. Pardon me for the sniffles, guys. I'm still sick. Okay. So the reason why I did that, because you don't want this to adhere down yet, because you're going to want to do this fold first, because if you adhere this down first like that, then fold it over, it could buckle up like that kind of thing, and it looks kind of funny. So what I do is I just adhere this part down first. Okay, so you make your fold like that, open it up, and you're just going to put some adhesive here and here. And again, I'm just going to use my ATG. Okay, so I put it here and here, and then you're just going to want to make sure you fold it over nice and good and push this way, because you don't want it to buckle. So what that has done is it's sealed the bottom, but kept the top open to form a pocket. Okay, and it sealed the side. And this is the side that's going to be bound with a Bind It All anyway. So now we're left with these loose pieces that we put tape on, and now you can take the tape off and adhere it down. So before I do that, I try to make sure that I go like this so it doesn't buckle. And the same with the other side. So peel the back off. There. So now it's nice and clean and flat, and you've got your pocket here and your pocket here and one here. So now what I do with this is, I do like to measure, but you can eyeball it. I use a 2-inch punch. You can use whatever size you like. And a ruler. And I'm just going to mark the halfway point, so the 3-inch mark. So 3 inches. And then I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch in depth, because that's where I want my notch to go, like my circle. I want that depth. So now, if you look at this, I've marked mine. Some already come marked. Mine had a little indent, so I just enhanced it with a Sharpie so you can see what the halfway mark is for the circle. And then I just line up my marks. So I made, if you can see it, a mark there. That's 3/4 of an inch in depth, and that's my 3-inch mark, so my halfway mark. So all I'm going to do is line up my circle just like that. So this is a depth of 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm just going to want to make sure it is not like lopsided like this or like this. So just eyeball it and make sure that your top of this is parallel with the bottom of the paper. That looks about right. And then you punch. So by doing that, it's going to ensure that when I put my pages together to be bound, that they're all nice and even like that, and not like mismatched like this or something, you know. So that's what it looks like. So those are my first 3 pages, and then I have my other 2 that I'm going to adhere down. So I'll show you guys what this looks like when it's all bound together.